Hey guys, so not every repair that I do is a success, and tonight you're actually going to see evidence of that. This repair is very unique, and it is definitely going to be a failure, but not because I really failed at it, but because it probably wasn't worth trying to repair to begin with. Stay tuned and enjoy the rest of the video. Hey guys, so tonight I'm actually going to be working on something that's a little different than my normal. As you can see here, we've got a motherboard socket up in front of us here, and the whole ordeal tonight is that there are bent pins on this motherboard. Now you may or may not be able to tell that already just based on what you're looking at on the image that's here. Everything's a little complicated with this setup because it's all brand new from my microscope, and then I'm also running it to a TV up here. So what you're going to be seeing is me looking up above you as I'm fiddling with the board down here to get these pins into the correct position. So the image that you guys see, which is this, I guess it's down here in the corner, and well, basically the rest of it all along the bottom here is the AM5 socket. So I'm going to try to do this where you guys get to watch while I do this. I thought it was pretty cool that I was able to run this to my capture card, but we're actually going to zoom in a little bit further on this than we are currently. That way I can just get a much clearer picture of the socket and what we're going to be dealing with. So you're going to see it go blurry. This is all done in real time here. So bear with me while I work on this. Okay. I'm going to clear up this image here. Go the other way with it. And I'm sorry about the shaky cam, guys. If this is something where you guys where you get a little sick from watching something like this, maybe don't, because I can't promise that it's not going to be shaky. I've got this. This is on an arm that is coming down on top of the board here. So, all right, you should be able to see that one pin that's just kind of out of whack to begin with there. Now these aren't pins. These things lay down and go in a very specific orientation. So it's definitely a challenge to get them in the correct configuration the first time. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing a different sheen, and this is the dental tool that I'm using here, guys, right? And I'm taking this dental tool and we're going to be bending some of these pins back into position, hopefully. But like this here, and this here needs to go back down some, but I also have to do it without pressing down the other pins. So we have to be very careful. Now this guy doesn't, I told him it's never a guarantee, you know, because this is one of those kind of a crapshoot type things where you can bend a pin back down. Uh-oh. This one here actually looks like the tip is broken off. Hang on, guys. Let's see if I can get back to it. Yeah, so you see this pin right here? Kind of looks like the tip might be broken off. So that won't make contact at all. But I don't know which pin that is, so there's not a whole lot I can do for that one. Hopefully that's not the end of the world. This one's bent a little to the right, so we gotta scooch him back to the left. And I scooched him a little too much. But it's also rusted right there at the joint. Almost like this thing was in some moisture and it broke off too. Okay, well that's definitely not great. We're not having a good time doing this. This isn't necessarily a science. Bending pins back on these AM5 boards is definitely a challenge. Yeah, you can see exactly how that broke off there. So the tips of some of these pins are just breaking off and not actually staying on. And it looks like even prior to doing this, there are some other pins on this board that are broken off. So it's a challenge. I don't know that this is actually going to function the way it's supposed to, given that that's broken like that. We were trying to save it because it's a $415 motherboard, but it kind of looks like the damage has already been done. Zooming in here on the microscope, it doesn't look super good. So basically what happened is the customer dropped their CPU on top of the socket by mistake when trying to install it. And as a result, we wound up with some bent pins. And those bent pins are obviously fractured as well. So I'm going to come right down here. We've got another one that's kind of bent in a weird way, but I don't think we're going to be able to fix this one without breaking the tip off. This is a lot easier to do with CPUs themselves, because CPUs themselves, the pins are a lot less fragile than they are on a motherboard. I'm also no surgeon, but I've done this before, which is why I offered to try again. But those pins on that pinout might be, oh gosh. Yeah, these just snap right there, don't they? You try to bend them back the correct direction and they just snap off. Oof, so fragile. So fragile. And there goes another one. Yeah, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it. Sorry, I know this wasn't that great of a video because all in all, it's just, it is what it is, you know, but I mean, you can see the broken pins on this pretty clearly. The tips are breaking off. It looks like they're corroded after they bent a little bit. Now, I don't know if that's poor manufacturing or what, but I know that on other ASUS boards, I've been able, or not other ASUS boards, but other AM5 boards, I've been able to bend these pins back and not have much trouble. On this one, it seems like they're all breaking as soon as you slightly bend the metal. So I don't know if it's a different kind of metal that's being used or what the case is here, but it definitely seems a lot more fragile and not as user-friendly. Just to kind of, I'm going to scooch up the socket here if I can to show you guys more of it. Of course, it's going to go blurry on us because it's at a different point, but there is another section where the CPU kind of hit the pins, so I'm going to try and focus on that too. We're starting to get some clarity there. Sorry guys, I know this is really rough when it comes to now I went too far the other way. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you can see the pins at the top go the other direction, but if we try to bring our focus over to this side, we have more pins that have been, and of course pulling up is going to do that, but whatever. I'm just going to pull away from the board some. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Crystal clear. the edge of the socket. What I'm trying to get you guys to is the upper edge, because there's some pins up there that I believe are missing tips as well and are slightly bent. Yeah, there we go. You can see them, the two that are just completely out of whack there. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, and there's some goop on that too, which is really weird. I don't know what the goop is, but you can see that there's a tip of one of the pins broken off, just kind of sitting there. Right there, yeah. And I think I can touch it right there. Yeah. Oh, it's not broken off, but it's bent backwards. If I try to bend that forwards, it's just going to snap off again into that socket. So I'm gonna probably reach out to this customer and just let him know that this is not going to be something to sink a lot of time into, and it's definitely not going to work long term. Unfortunately, I hate it when I have to tell people that, but I have to be realistic too. You know, this board is all of these things are micro, like little teeny tiny pins that you just can't really get to. And this is the edge of another dental tool here I'm trying to use, but I don't think that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be too big. Yeah, and that just snaps off. It's so crazy how they rust. I don't know what's causing that. I have not seen that before, but they're pretty severely bent. Like, they're bent completely backwards. So the rust is certainly interesting. Like I said, have not seen that before. Potentially just an ASUS thing for the rust. If you guys have ever had bent pins on a board, on an AM5 board, and you see rust as well at the point where it's bent, let me know. It shouldn't be oxidizing that much after a couple months just sitting that way. So yeah, but anyway, I guess it could be copper underneath I'm seeing and not rust. I'm not really sure, but it's either way, the pins are really soft and they snap off when you try to bend them back. So this is not going to work. So sorry for that, guys. Again, not a super long, super fun video, but sometimes this is how it is. You know, when you got a microscope and you can look at things like this, it winds up being that it's not the way to go. If this were an Intel board, I'd probably have a little bit easier of a time, but these pins are really soft and the board itself there's just no salvaging it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good night.